Friends, I stand before you today not to coddle your feelings or stroke your ego, but to awaken something far more powerful within you. Something that has been dormant, waiting for the right moment to ignite. That something is your burning desire, the single most potent force in the universe of human achievement. You see, most people live their entire lives never understanding this fundamental truth. Success is not an accident. It is not luck. And it certainly is not dependent on your circumstances. Success is the direct result of a burning desire so intense, so consuming, that it transforms you from a passive observer of life into an active creator of your destiny. But let me be crystal clear from the outset. What I am about to share with you is not for the weak-hearted, not for those seeking comfort, and certainly not for those who believe the world owes them something. This is for warriors. This is for those who understand that life is a battlefield and victory belongs to those who master themselves first. When I speak of burning desire, I am not talking about wishful thinking. I am not talking about hoping things will get better or daydreaming about success while you remain planted in mediocrity. Burning desire is a living, breathing force that consumes every fiber of your being. It is the difference between wanting something and nenny it with every cell in your body. Think of Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who rose from poverty to become one of the richest men in history. As a young telegraph operator earning 25 cents a day, he did not merely wish for wealth. He burned with an insatiable hunger for it. This desire was so intense that it drove him to work 18-hour days, to study every aspect of business, to sacrifice immediate pleasures for long-term gains. His desire was not a gentle flame. It was a raging inferno that melted every obstacle in its path. You must understand this distinction. The person who wants success will make excuses when challenges arise. The person who burns with desire will find a way or make one. The person who wants success will retreat when criticized. The person who burns with desire will use criticism as fuel for their fire. Here is what you must do. Tonight, when you return home, I want you to sit in complete silence. No distractions, no excuses. Ask yourself this question: what do I want so desperately that I would endure any hardship, overcome any obstacle, and persist through any failure to achieve it? If you cannot answer this question with immediate clarity and overwhelming emotion, then you have not yet discovered your burning desire. But when you do find it, when that desire grips you like a fever, you will discover something remarkable. Suddenly, the voice of doubt becomes a whisper. The opinions of others become irrelevant. The comfort of your current situation becomes intolerable. You will be transformed from someone who reacts to life into someone who commands it. Now, here comes the paradox that separates the masters from the masses. While your desire must burn with white, hot intensity, your emotions must remain under your absolute control. You cannot afford to be at the mercy of every emotional wind that blows through your consciousness. Listen carefully. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Critics will emerge from every corner to tell you why your dreams are impossible, market conditions will shift. Unexpected obstacles will appear. In these moments, your emotional response will determine whether you advance or retreat. The weak react emotionally. They allow circumstances to dictate their internal state. When things go well, they are euphoric. When challenges arise, they are devastated. They are like leaves blown by whatever wind happens to be strongest at the moment. The strong maintain emotional equilibrium regardless of external conditions. They understand that emotions are tools to be used strategically, not masters to be obeyed blindly. They feel their emotions fully, but they do not allow those emotions to drive their decisions. Consider this scenario. You have spent months developing a business proposal. You present it to potential investors confident in its merit. They reject it completely, some even laughing at your ideas. The weak person crumbles. They take this rejection as a verdict on their worth, their capabilities, their future. They retreat, lick their wounds, and often abandon their dreams entirely. The emotionally detached person processes this rejection differently. They feel the disappointment, yes, but they immediately begin analyzing what went wrong. Was the presentation flawed? Did they target the wrong investors? Is the market timing off? They extract every lesson from the failure and use it to strengthen their next attempt. This is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. This is about becoming unshakable. This is about developing the mental toughness that allows you to remain focused on your objective regardless of temporary setbacks or emotional turbulence. Here is your action step. Beginning today, practice the pause. When any situation triggers a strong emotional response, create a 3-second gap between the trigger and your reaction. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself, what response serves my burning desire? Not what feels good in the moment, not what satisfies your ego, but what moves you closer to your ultimate objective. In a world obsessed with noise, with constant communication, with the need to be heard and validated, one of your greatest weapons is strategic silence. The person who has mastered silence has mastered power itself. Most people cannot tolerate silence. They fill every void with chatter, with explanations, with justifications for their actions. They reveal their strategies, their weaknesses, their fears through unnecessary communication. They seek validation through verbal expression, making themselves vulnerable to manipulation and attack. The person who burns with desire understands that silence is strength. They do not feel compelled to explain their actions to every critic. They do not need to justify their dreams to those who cannot understand them. They do not reveal their strategies to potential competitors. Think about this carefully. When you remain silent in the face of criticism, what happens? The critic expects a defensive response. When they do not receive it, they are thrown off balance. Your silence forces them to question whether their criticism has any validity. Meanwhile, you remain centered, focused, and undisturbed. When you choose not to announce every move you make, what happens? You maintain the element of surprise. You prevent others from sabotaging your efforts. You avoid the drain of constantly having to defend your choices to people who have no stake in your success. But let me be clear about what strategic silence is not. It is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is not fear of confrontation. Strategic silence is conscious choice. It is the recognition that not every battle deserves your energy, not every critic deserves your attention, and not every situation requires your input. Here is how you implement this principle. Before speaking in any situation, ask yourself these three questions. Will my words move me closer to my objective? Will my words provide information that others can use against me? Will my words drain energy that could be better invested elsewhere? If you cannot answer the first question with a definite yes, choose silence. Remember, your actions speak louder than your words ever could. Let your results be your response to every doubter, every critic, every person who questions your capabilities. One of the greatest prisons you can construct for yourself is the need for external validation. The moment you require others to approve of your choices, to believe in your dreams, to validate your worth, you have surrendered your power to forces beyond your control. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of developing burning desire, because human beings are social creatures. We naturally seek acceptance, approval, recognition from our peers. But here's the brutal truth. The path to extraordinary achievement is often a lonely one. The decisions you must make, the risks you must take, the persistence you must demonstrate, these things are rarely understood or supported by the masses. The person who burns with desire must be willing to stand alone. They must be willing to pursue their vision even when family members doubt them, friends abandon them, and society questions their sanity. They must derive their sense of worth not from external recognition, but from their own progress toward their objective. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. When he announced his intention to create electric light, the established scientific community ridiculed him. Gas companies saw him as a threat. Even his own financial backers lost faith after hundreds of failed experiments. But Edison's burning desire was not dependent on their approval. He continued his work because the vision burned within him, not because others encouraged him. You must develop this same independence. You must become your own source of motivation, your own judge of progress, your own fountain of encouragement. This does not mean you ignore constructive feedback or refuse to learn from others. It means you do not allow other people's opinions to determine your self-worth or derail your mission. Here is what independence looks like in practice. You set your goals based on your own vision, not on what others expect of you. You measure your progress by your own standards, not by comparison to others. You persist through criticism because your inner compass guides you, not because external voices encourage you. When someone questions your decisions, you do not feel compelled to justify them. When someone offers unsolicited advice that conflicts with your strategy, you listen politely but make your own determination. When someone tries to discourage you from pursuing your dreams, you thank them for their concern and continue forward. This independence is not arrogance. It is self-reliance. It is the recognition that you are the only person who truly understands your vision, your capabilities, and your commitment level. It is the understanding that external validation is a luxury you cannot afford if you want to achieve something extraordinary. Now we come to perhaps the most crucial element of burning desire, the development of mental toughness that renders you virtually undefeatable. I say virtually because you will face defeats, you will encounter setbacks, you will experience failures. But with the right mindset, these apparent defeats become stepping stones rather than stopping points. Mental toughness is not about pretending that challenges do not affect you. It is about training your mind to process challenges as opportunities for growth rather than evidence of inadequacy. It is about developing a thought pattern that automatically asks, what can I learn from this, rather than why is this happening to me? The mentally tough person understands that every challenge is a test. Life is constantly evaluating your commitment, your resilience, your creativity. Each obstacle is an opportunity to prove that your desire burns stronger than your fear, that your determination outweighs your doubts. Picture this scenario. You have invested every dollar you have in your business venture. Market conditions suddenly shift, and you lose everything. The average person sees this as confirmation that they should never have taken the risk. They retreat to the safety of mediocrity, convinced that extraordinary achievement is not for them. The mentally tough person sees this as valuable education. They analyze what went wrong, identify the lessons to be learned, and immediately begin planning their next attempt. They understand that this setback, painful as it may be, has provided them with knowledge and experience that cannot be gained any other way. This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is the recognition that every successful person has a graveyard of failures behind them, but they use those failures as fertilizer for future success. Mental toughness also means controlling your internal dialogue. The average person's mind is a battlefield of conflicting thoughts, doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs. The mentally tough person takes control of this internal conversation. They monitor their thoughts as carefully as a security guard monitors a building. When a negative thought enters their consciousness, they do not suppress it or deny it. They examine it, extract any useful information from it, and then replace it with a thought that serves their objective. They understand that thoughts are tools, and like any tool, some are useful for the task at hand, while others are not. Here is your daily practice. Each morning, before you begin your day, spend 5 minutes programming your mind for success. Review your burning desire, visualize yourself achieving it, and affirm your commitment to persist regardless of obstacles. Each evening, review the day's challenges and ask yourself, how did these experiences strengthen me? What did I learn that will help me tomorrow? Every person who has achieved extraordinary success has undergone a fundamental transformation. They have evolved from who they were into who they needed to become to achieve their objective. This transformation is not optional. It is inevitable if your desire burns with sufficient intensity. The transformation begins in your mind. Your old thought patterns, your old beliefs about what is possible, your old definitions of yourself, these must be discarded like outgrown clothing. You cannot achieve extraordinary results while clinging to ordinary thinking. Consider the caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly. The caterpillar does not become a faster caterpillar or a stronger caterpillar. It becomes something entirely different. Its entire cellular structure is broken down and rebuilt. This process is not comfortable, but it is necessary for the butterfly to emerge. Your transformation will be equally radical. The person you are today, with your current limitations, your current fears, your current excuses, must be dissolved so that the person you need to become can emerge. This process is uncomfortable, often painful, but absolutely necessary. You will need to develop new skills. You will need to expand your knowledge. You will need to strengthen your character. You will need to upgrade your habits. You will need to raise your standards. Most importantly, you will need to expand your identity to match your expanded objectives. The small business owner who dreams of building a corporate empire must develop the mindset of a CEO. The employee who desires financial independence must develop the mindset of an investor. The amateur who wants to turn professional must develop the discipline and standards of a professional. This transformation requires brutal honesty about your current limitations. You must inventory your weaknesses without self-judgment and systematically eliminate them. You must identify the skills you lack and acquire them. You must recognize the habits that serve you and strengthen them while identifying the habits that hold you back and replacing them. But here is the beautiful truth about this transformation. Once you commit to it completely, once you surrender to the process of becoming who you need to become, the universe conspires to support you. Opportunities appear, resources manifest, people emerge to help you, doors open that were previously invisible. This is not mysticism, this is practical psychology. When you change internally, you begin to notice possibilities that were always there, but outside your previous awareness. When you raise your standards, you attract people and situations that match those standards. When you commit completely to your transformation, you develop the energy and focus necessary to create extraordinary results. Burning desire without disciplined action is merely fantasy. The gap between dreaming and achieving is bridged by daily execution, by the relentless accumulation of small actions that compound into extraordinary results. Most people underestimate the power of consistent daily action. They look for the dramatic breakthrough, the overnight success, the lottery ticket solution. They fail to understand that extraordinary achievement is built one day at a time, one decision at a time, one action at a time. The person who burns with desire develops a daily routine that serves their objective. They understand that what they do daily matters more than what they do occasionally. They create systems and habits that ensure progress even when motivation wanes, even when obstacles arise, even when results are not immediately visible. Think about the professional athlete who trains every day, even when they do not feel like it, even when the weather is poor, even when they are tired or discouraged. They understand that their daily practice is an investment in their future performance. They understand that champions are made in the hours when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when the only witness to their effort is their own commitment. You must develop this same discipline. You must identify the daily actions that move you toward your objective and execute them regardless of circumstances. If your goal is financial independence, you must save and invest daily. If your goal is to build a business, you must work on that business daily. If your goal is to develop a skill, you must practice that skill daily. But let me warn you about something that destroys more dreams than any external obstacle: the tendency to measure progress by daily results rather than by daily actions. Some days your actions will produce visible results. Other days they will not. The key is to remain focused on executing your daily disciplines regardless of immediate outcomes. Here is your implementation strategy. Identify the 3 most important actions that move you toward your burning desire. These should be specific, measurable actions that you can complete daily. Then, no matter what else happens in your day, no matter how busy you become, no matter how you feel, execute these 3 actions. Make them non-negotiable. Make them as automatic as breathing. Remember, success is not a single event. It is a process. Champions are not made in the spotlight of victory. They are forged in the crucible of daily discipline when no one is watching and no one is applauding. If burning desire is the fuel that powers your journey, then persistence is the engine that keeps you moving when that fuel seems to be running low. Every person who has achieved something worthwhile has been tested by circumstances that would have stopped the average individual. What separated them was not superior talent or better circumstances. It was superior persistence. Persistence is not merely continuing when things are difficult. That is stubbornness. True persistence is the intelligent application of sustained effort despite obstacles, setbacks, and apparent failures. It is the wisdom to adjust your methods while maintaining unwavering commitment to your objective. The persistent person understands that every no brings them closer to your eyes. Every failure provides valuable feedback. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. They do not interpret temporary defeat as permanent failure. They do not allow current circumstances to dictate future possibilities. Consider the story of Colonel Sanders, who was 62 years old when he began franchising his chicken recipe. He was rejected by over 1,000 restaurants before finding his first franchise partner. Most people would have given up after a dozen rejections. The average person would have concluded that their idea had no merit. But Sanders persisted because his desire burned stronger than his discouragement. You must develop this same relentless persistence. You must train your mind to see setbacks as temporary and solutions as inevitable. You must condition yourself to become more determined when obstacles increase rather than more discouraged. But persistence without intelligence is futility. The persistent person learns from each attempt. They analyze what worked and what did not. They adjust their approach while maintaining their objective. They persist in their goal but remain flexible in their methods. Here is how you develop unshakable persistence. First, make your burning desire so clear and compelling that quitting becomes unthinkable. Second, develop multiple strategies for achieving your objective so that when one path is blocked, you have alternatives ready. Third, surround yourself with evidence of others who have overcome similar challenges to prove that success is possible. Most importantly, understand that persistence is a decision, not a feeling. You do not persist because you feel like persisting. You persist because you have decided that your objective is more important than your temporary discomfort. You persist because the alternative, giving up on your dreams, is unacceptable. When your burning desire reaches the level of absolute commitment, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract the resources, opportunities, and people necessary for your success. This is not magic. This is psychology. When you are absolutely committed, you notice possibilities that were always there, but previously invisible to you. Absolute commitment means burning your bridges, eliminating your escape route, making failure so unacceptable that success becomes your only option. It means investing yourself so completely in your objective that retreat is impossible. Most people keep one foot in their current situation and one foot in their dream. They want success, but they also want security. They want to achieve great things, but they also want to maintain their comfort zone. This divided commitment ensures mediocre results. The person who burns with desire makes a complete commitment. They risk their comfort, their security, their reputation on their vision. They understand that half-hearted effort produces half-hearted results, while total commitment unleashes total potential. When Hernan Cortés landed in Mexico with his conquistadors, he ordered his ships to be burned. His men could not retreat. They could only advance or perish. This act of absolute commitment transformed ordinary soldiers into extraordinary conquerors. They found resources, strategies, and courage they never knew they possessed because failure was not an option. You must develop this same level of absolute commitment. You must make your success inevitable by making failure impossible. This does not mean being reckless or irresponsible. It means committing your full resources, mental and physical, to your objective. Absolute commitment changes how others perceive you. People can sense when someone is completely committed versus when someone is merely hoping. Complete commitment inspires confidence in others. It attracts investors, partners, customers, and supporters who want to be part of something significant. Here is how you demonstrate absolute commitment. Set deadlines for your objectives and treat them as sacred. Invest significant resources in your goal, enough that failure would be costly. Announce your intentions publicly so that your reputation is tied to your success. Eliminate backup plans that allow you to retreat when things become difficult. Remember, the universe rewards commitment. When you commit completely, you tap into reserves of strength, creativity, and persistence that you never knew you possessed. You become unstoppable, not because obstacles disappear, but because your commitment makes you undefeatable. Everything I have shared with you culminates in this moment of victory when your burning desire transforms from vision into reality. But let me tell you something that may surprise you. The greatest victory is not in the achievement itself, but in who you become in the process of achieving it. The person who started this journey with a burning desire is not the same person who achieves that desire. They have been forged in the fire of challenge, shaped by the hammer of persistence, polished by the discipline of daily execution. They have become someone capable of extraordinary achievement. This transformation is permanent. Once you have developed the mindset, the habits, the character necessary to achieve one extraordinary goal, you possess the blueprint for achieving any goal. You have proven to yourself that limitations are largely self-imposed, that obstacles are opportunities in disguise. That success is a predictable result of specific causes. But here is the ultimate truth about burning desire. Achievement of one goal does not end the journey. It qualifies you for the next level. The person who has climbed one mountain sees other peaks to conquer. The entrepreneur who builds one successful business envisions building others. The person who has transformed themselves once knows they can transform themselves again. This is why burning desire is so powerful. It does not merely help you achieve a goal. It awakens you to your true potential. It reveals capabilities you never knew you possessed. It demonstrates that the only real limitations in your life are the ones you accept. When you achieve your burning desire, when you stand in the reality that was once only a dream, you will understand something profound. You will realize that the external achievement was merely the excuse for the internal transformation. You pursued success, but what you really achieved was self-mastery. You chased a goal, but what you really won was yourself. This is the ultimate power of burning desire. It transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, not by changing their circumstances, but by changing them. It does not remove obstacles from their path. It develops their ability to overcome any obstacle. It does not guarantee an easy journey. It guarantees a worthwhile one. The time for theory has passed. The time for excuses has ended. The time for waiting for perfect conditions has expired. This is your moment of decision. This is when you choose between remaining who you are and becoming who you could be. This is when you decide whether your dreams remain fantasies or transform into achievements. I have given you the principles. I have shown you the path. I have revealed the secrets that separate the successful from the average. But principles without application are worthless. Knowledge without action is meaningless. Understanding without implementation is futile. You stand at a crossroads. Down one path lies the comfort of the familiar, the safety of the known, the mediocrity of the masses. Down the other path lies uncertainty, challenge, growth, and the possibility of extraordinary achievement. Most people choose the first path because it feels safer. Champions choose the second path because it leads to significance. What will you choose? Will you allow this moment to pass like countless others, promising yourself that you will take action tomorrow, next week, next month? Or will you seize this moment and begin the transformation that will change everything? Your burning desire is waiting to be ignited. Your potential is waiting to be unleashed. Your extraordinary life is waiting to be lived. But it will not happen by accident. It will not happen through wishful thinking. It will only happen through decision, commitment, and relentless action. The principles I have shared with you today are not suggestions, they are requirements. Emotional detachment is not optional, it is essential. Strategic silence is not a convenience, it is a weapon. Independence from external validation is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Mental toughness is not a bonus, it is the foundation of all achievement. You have two choices. You can leave here today and return to your old patterns, your old limitations, your old excuses. Or you can leave here today as a different person, someone who has decided that mediocrity is unacceptable. That extraordinary achievement is not just possible but inevitable. The world does not need another dreamer. The world needs another achiever. The world does not need another person with good intentions. The world needs another person with burning desire and the courage to act on it. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your burning desire awaits your decision. Light the fire. Feed the flame. Transform your life. Transform yourself. Transform your world. The choice is yours. The power is within you. The time is now. Make it happen.